Oh! We're up here, we're cutting a bunch of juniper trees down because they're starting to get a little too prolific in this area, and we've got some other native plant species that we want to make sure that we protect. So we're trying to take out some of the junipers because one, they suck up a lot of water from a lot of the plants and they kill some of the natural springs, but they also encroach on some of this bitter brush and sage.
The main purpose of the Phillip Schneider Wildlife Area is for mule deer and elk winter range. We have an abundance of junipers in our wildlife area. They outcompete sagebrush and bitter brush. So a lot of what we do is to try and improve nutrition over winter, right, which is really harsh for their survival.
As part of his annual member meetup, Jason has gathered a group of willing volunteers to assist the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife with their juniper thinning efforts. It is early February in a mountainous area of Oregon high desert, but this hardy crew is not fazed by the cold and wet with winter camping. The ODFW has provided an expansive site with ample room for everyone to make camp in a picturesque valley along the South Fork of the John Day River.
So we just get a group of volunteers together, saws, chaps, hard hats, all the gear. We provide as much as we can, or people can bring their own.
Prior to unleashing these novice lumberjacks onto the juniper-infested hillsides, ODFW is providing a class on chainsaw operation and safe tree felling techniques. While most of these volunteers have some experience using chainsaws, Brandon Voss from the Oregon Department of Forestry is a seasoned professional tree cutter whose in-depth safety instructions definitely teach us all a thing or two. We eventually move outdoors, with Brandon showing us how to fire up the saws we'll be using. The class concludes with a demonstration of how effectively a pair of chaps can stop a wayward chainsaw from cutting into your leg. These chaps are made of Kevlar, whose fibers instantly bind up the saw, rendering it unable to function.
So you have to walk out the forest with the saw on your leg?
It's the next morning and we're convoying up to a parcel of the wildlife area in need of thinning. Jason has supplied breakfast for everyone, brought in from Twisted Treasures Cafe in nearby Dayville. As we enjoy our delicious breakfast burritos, Joe provides us with some final directions before sending us up into the hills.
There is a barrier, there is a boundary north. You got 1 to 10.
Most of the junipers have branches close to the ground that require limbing in order to clear space to safely fell the tree.
So it's not all just slinging chainsaws up here today. Some of the work that needs to be done is once these trees actually just get limbed, the limbs have to be pulled out of the way so a feller has the room to come in and actually take the tree down.
Lopping down smaller junipers and saplings is also a crucial task, or these will just grow into problematic trees in the coming years. Eventually, everyone gains a feel for the process of limbing, pulling branches, and felling trees. The buzzing of chainsaws and the crack of toppling tree trunks echoes endlessly through the valley as the crew starts to make some real progress. Juniper has been steadily falling left and right. We're not taking out every single tree.
We leave the old growth juniper standing when we're doing our juniper thins due to the possibility that they might have archaeological significance. Sometimes there'll be markings in the trees. The archaeologists do ask us to leave those standing. Typically, an old growth juniper, they're not very tall like some junipers get. They're just really wide and gnarly and sometimes half dead. And anyway, you can tell they're old.
After a productive morning, we're taking a lunch break and tending to saw maintenance, cleaning out debris, and swapping in new or sharpened chains. Refreshed from our break, we're going to put in a couple more hours of thinning. I followed Jason up to a stand of juniper he wanted to finish at the top end of this ridge. After juniper thinning projects, ODFW will sometimes pile and burn the debris from a juniper thin.
We can't always do that, cost reasons or the terrain maybe, so we also would just go out there and fall them and let them lay where they fall. And that actually provides habitat in its own way.
Chukar and other upland birds make use of the cover provided by the fallen trees. which can also actually provide habitat nursery that protects tender seedlings of the bitterbrush and sagebrush we are out here to preserve.
You all right? That on, Phil?
Jason had properly cut a wedge out of this trunk where he intended the tree to fall, and was in the process of making his back cut, but this juniper was less balanced than most, causing it to topple in the wrong direction. This wouldn't have been problematic on flat ground, but it was obviously a different story on this steep mountainside. Juniper is a dense, heavy wood. Just a single large branch carries a surprising amount of weight, and this was a whole collection of large branches, plus an entire log coming down on Jason. I seriously thought I would have to go running for help. The hard hat was the hero here, though. One of those large lower branches, propelled by the weight of the entire tree, hit Jason directly in the head. Without the helmet, this day would have ended very differently. Instead, Jason took a breather, then insisted on completing the area he had been trying to finish.
That wasn't a bet.
Finally, it's time to call it a day and head back down to the rigs. While we didn't fell every tree that could have come down, we made a serious dent in the juniper population here, freeing up resources for the other native shrubs and grasses which sustain the deer and elk through the winter. Back at the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife facility, we're unwinding and sharing stories from our experience today. ODFW has invited us to relax here for a while and is providing dinner for the whole crew. Outside, Twisted Treasures Cafe has brought over a barbecue. Owners Brad and Ariel are grilling up a stack of juicy burgers made from their own home-raised beef, a thoroughly enjoyable way to end the day. After a dry but cold night dropping well below freezing, attendees will begin breaking camp.
Well, I feel like we had a pretty successful event after all.
Yeah, you know, for the first one, I mean, obviously ODFW does these events with other groups, but from our group, this was, I'm really happy with what happened, and the group that we had here for the first one, I mean, amazing. They did an awesome job, got a lot of trees down, you know, and I just think it's good. You know, we spend a lot of time on public land, we enjoy it. You know, I think a lot of times we take for granted that it's here, but it's important that we take these opportunities to also give back.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these lands do have to be managed, and it takes resources.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To be able to get a group like this together and help out and do some good, it's awesome.
Well, it was a great idea, and it was a great time up there on the mountain, and I look forward to more of these.
Yeah, yep.
Cool. Great.
And thank you for doing the video.
Yeah, my pleasure. And thank you for watching.